I began, starting in Tucson, to see things in dogs that I hadn't seen before, but also I think it had a great deal to do with the breed. I began to work with American Staffordshire Terriers, which most people identify as pit bulls, and I saw something in those dogs that I hadn't expected, given that most of the media presents them as time bombs, weapon dogs. And I began very, very closely to think about dogs, not only in my life, but in the way in which dogs work for other people in ways that might differ from just the typical pet. So when you say, well, how did you become so interested in dogs? I think I became interested in humans and dogs. It's the relation between humans and dogs that matter to me, and what that tells us over time about what we have become as a society. The book is primarily concerned with which types of persons and which types of dogs are considered disposable in our society. So the book as a whole is making a plea for us to think differently about our relationships, because this is a time, as I see it, of extinctions. Certain groups of people and certain kinds of dogs are labeled and easily disposed of. Again, I think that it's important to think about the way in which dogs are the non-human and humans are inextricably bound, and that we need to stop thinking about something called a kind of humanistic stance versus the animal. The spirit has always been important to me as a person who worked for a long time in Haiti doing field work on voodoo. I've always been interested in the life of the spirit. And of course, all of my work, I would claim, has, shall we call it, a religious component, in that I think that there really is a way of inhabiting the spirit, which is a very material way of being in the world, a very embodied way. And so when I'm thinking about the life of dogs and the life of the spirit, I'm thinking about, in some sense, taking what we consider the most brute or physicalized entities, dogs, they're so dog, and what we think of as something so impalpable, a transcendent is spirit. I think that the two things are really convertible and that they work together very, very powerfully. And so I like taking two very extreme oppositions. Spirit we think of as hierarchically up there, the dogs are down there, and working through the interstices so we can inhabit a world that is in some sense not one or the other, but both and. And that is why this is, I think, a very political book, in that, given the great divides in our country now, I hope that it will, through the dogs, lead us in a way, through our own relationship with dogs, to understand other people who might not be like us.